Hello, hello, hello. RuPaul's Drag Race Season 17 is currently airing, but let's go back in time to Season 16 and see how the season would play out if I was the main judge. So, in the first two episodes, it was a split premiere, and the twist called Raid a Queen got introduced. I like this twist, but unfortunately, it didn't really change anything besides Nymphia losing the second split premiere. So, after the voting in the first week, Sapphira Crystal got first place, Q got second, Dawn third, Mirage fourth, Morphine fifth, Zunami Muse sixth, and Amanda Tori Meeting seventh. I am not going to change their original placements from the premiere they were a part of, and it means that Nymphia is still going to lose the second episode. Dawn and Mirage are going to be high, and Sapphira will lip-sync against Q to Break My Soul. And I mean, there's no questions, Sapphira Crystal won the lip-sync and the immunity potion. I really like the concept of the immunity potions, but I'm sad it didn't really change anything at the end. And by the way, I am going to give you my personal ranking from each week. So, here is my Raid a Queen. In my personal opinion, Q did better than Sapphira overall because they both absolutely killed the talent show, and on the runway, Q did a better job, but it would not really change anything since Sapphira would still win the lip sync. It's time for the second group of queens, and the results looked like this. Obviously Nymphia should have been lip syncing, but since Plains sabotaged her, she's going to be just high. Plasma is also going to be high, because her sisters ranked her fourth, and the lip sync for the win will be between Plain Jane and Geneva Carr. Plain does a better job, which means she is the winner of the second split premiere. However, in my Raid a Queen, she is not in the top two. I think Nymphia should have been lip-syncing against Geneva. Burger Finger was just not my cup of tea, I guess. Anyways, it is time for both groups to come together, and the very first elimination episode of the season was the Ball Challenge. Raid a Queen this episode didn't change much, but I decided to get rid of it, since I don't think it was necessary. Originally Nymphia won the challenge, and obviously I kept her as the winner, because she looked so stunning, and you cannot deny she's a really good seamstress. Q and Sapphira were in the top, but I decided to give a high placement to Dawn over Sapphira. I just preferred her third look over Sapphira's. Sapphira's first two looks were really cool, and the look she made was also good, but I think Dawn's last look was better, and her first two looks also good. And since the look you made is the most important, I think she should have been high. I do think that Geneva Carr and Hershey were the correct bottom two of the week, but Maya being low was such a weird choice. Her package this episode was totally safe. She was like 10th or 9th for me overall. The queen who I think should have been low is Plasma. Same as Dawn, I absolutely hated her first look, second one was fine, and I wasn't a huge fan of this dress she constructed. I would also agree with Plain Jane being low, but definitely not Maya. Honestly, Geneva's third look I think was the strongest out of the three, but still not good enough to escape the bottom two. And Hershey. Well, she didn't even make the pants she wore on the runway. Mama. That's kinda iconic, but not for the right reasons. Anyways, Hershey and Geneva had to lip-sync to Maybe You're the Problem by Ava Max. Geneva ended up winning the lip-sync, which was correct, since she did do a better job, which means Hershey is still gonna be the pork chop of Season 16. Well, it's chocolate. In the episode 4 we had the acting challenge, and I also made some changes. Originally Plasma ended up winning, which I don't think was rigged, because she did do a really good job, but I personally would give the win to Plain Jane. She really did outshine Megami and stole the show. I just enjoyed her a bit more than Plasma. Many people were saying that Q was robbed here, but I don't even think she deserved to be in the top this episode. She was fine, but honestly when she wasn't called safe, I thought she's in the bottom. The queen who was robbed here is, in my opinion, Amanda Tori Meeting. She definitely did better than Dawn in their segments, and also even better than Q. Plus her runway look this episode was absolutely stunning. And I would love to see her being more appreciated by the judges. Originally Maya was once again low, and once again I completely disagree with that. She did push herself more and listen to the critiques they gave her 2 weeks before, and in my judging she was close to the top. Her runway look was not good though, but she just should have been safe. I decided to put Morphine Love Dion low. Her role just didn't have much to offer, and Tsunami Muse, who was Morphine's scene partner, definitely gave me more charisma, and Morphine just felt a little flat. The obvious bottom to this episode were Mirage and Geneva. This was one of the most heartbreaking eliminations from the franchise. They lip-synced to Dark Lady by Cher, and Mirage did not know the lyrics. I was really sad to see her so devastated, and I didn't see her going home so soon. I would love Saphira or Plane to give her an immunity potion, but it didn't end up happening, so Mirage is unfortunately still gonna go home, and now it's time for the next episode. The girl groups. Everyone except for Q did a really good job in the challenge. The group of Maya, Megami, Nymphia, and Geneva was definitely the strongest, and all of them ended up winning the challenge. I don't like when more than 2 people are declared as the winners, and so I decided to change that. I gave the win to Megami because her verse was my absolute favorite, and she also performed it well. Now you can say that, okay, but Nymphia's verse was also amazing, and Megami's runway look was not good, while Nymphia slayed both challenge and runway. I get it, but, as we know, Megami basically wrote Nymphia's verse, so I don't think giving Nymphia the win here would be correct. No one is gonna be low, and I kept Q and Amanda in the bottom too. Amanda's verse was so good, but unfortunately her performance had some messy moments. Girl, why did you wear that wig? But let's talk about her runway look. Everyone hated it, and I totally didn't mind it. It wasn't the best look I have ever seen on the runway, but it for sure wasn't the worst. I actually liked it. Q's verse also wasn't so bad, but her performance was not good. Her runway look was stunning as always. So, they lip-synced to Emergency, and unfortunately, it was one of the worst lip-syncs from this season. Q ended up winning, but I think Amanda did do better, and her track record is only a bit worse than Q's, which means Q is the 3rd to be eliminated. Originally, she made it to the top 4, but here it is not going to be the case. She is absolutely amazing though, and so talented. The next episode of the season was the Doll Design Challenge. Originally, the winner of this challenge was Q, but since she is not here in this scenario, the win would for sure go to Dawn. Her look was really good, and gave me like intergalactic vibes. Originally, Plain Jane was in the top, which I don't think was the correct choice. I decided to put Tsunami Muse and Megami in the top this episode. Megami's look was so clean and well made, and she looked stunning. As for Tsunami, her look was also really good. I would even say one of the best looks she wore on Drag Race. I can also agree with Nymphia being in the top, but for me, Tsunami was the correct choice. By the way, Saphira used her immunity potion this episode, so she is still using it, and still it did not change anything because she didn't need it. As for the bottoms, originally Plasma was low, but since Amanda Tori meeting is still in the competition, I decided to put her low over Plasma because Plasma's look was not that bad, and I don't think Amanda would be able to do better. Maya and Geneva are still the bottom 2 of the episode, and they have to lip-sync to Control by Janet Jackson. Maya definitely wins the lip-sync. I don't think there is any doubts about it. That means Geneva Carr is still gonna go home, and it is time for the Rizicle. Here I think Amanda would do good enough to be safe. Plasma is still gonna win the challenge, because her role had the most parts in the Rizicle, and she killed all of them, plus her runway look was gorgeous as well. Saphira is gonna stay high, as she also did a really good job this episode, but the other high placement went to Q, but she is already eliminated, which means we have to choose one of the safe queens to be high. I decided to go with Plain, since she did pretty good in the Rizicle, although her runway look was more on a basic side. Honestly, I thought Nymphia did such a good job, but some people were saying she did not know some of the lyrics. I didn't clock that at all, but if that is true, she didn't deserve a high placement. Originally, Morphine was low, but I decided to put Tsunami Muse low over her. Both of them were fine, so it came down to the runways, and yes, Morphine's was not the best, but in my opinion still better than Tsunami's. Megami and Maya were the correct bottom 2 of the week, so they will be lip-syncing to Flowers by Miley Cyrus. Let me tell you, when Maya took off her shoes, I was like, oh my god, girl, you're in danger, but she absolutely demolished Megami and won the lip sync, rightfully so. It might be a bit controversial, but Maya's lip sync to Flowers was one of my favorite lip syncs from the season. Unfortunately, Megami missed the mark because the song was not about being sad the whole time, but about giving yourself praise. She is still gonna go home this episode, and now it is time for the Snatch Game. I have no idea who is Amanda's choice to do in Snatch Game, but both Tsunami and Nymphia absolutely flopped in this challenge, so I am sure that Amanda would do better than them. I even think she would do better than Morphine and Dawn, so I kept her safe. Sapphira, Plain, and Maya were the clear top 3 of the week. Plain ended up winning, but I think Sapphira was the one who should have snatched this win. Both of them killed the Snatch Game, and Sapphira was better on the runway, which means she wins, and Plain and Maya are both high. Nymphia was originally low, probably because they were too scared to put her in the bottom, but she absolutely deserved to lip sync here. Tsunami also did not do great, so I kept her in the bottom, and I moved Morphine up to low. The lip sync song was I Wanna Dance with Somebody by Whitney Houston. Nymphia would probably be a bit restricted by her runway look, but she would probably still be able to do better than Tsunami, which means she gets to stay, and Tsunami Muse is sadly eliminated. Now it's time for the third design challenge of the season. Q won it originally, and since she is not here anymore, Dawn is gonna snatch her second win. I know many people were saying Nymphia should have won, but I don't agree. Honestly, I don't think Q winning this challenge was rigged, but I do think Dawn's look was the second best, which means in this scenario she did the best. Nymphia and Sapphira are going to be high because they also did a great job, but as you can see, we have another change in the elimination order. Originally, Plasma went home because Maya absolutely destroyed her in the lip sync, but here we still have Amanda Tori meeting. Sewing is not really her thing, and Maya's gown was absolutely stunning. She was in the bottom probably because she received too much help from Sapphira. But Sapphira said on Roscoe's that she did not do all the work, she just helped her. I don't see Amanda doing good enough to escape the bottom too, so she is gonna lip sync against Plasma. The lip sync song was Bloody Mary, the TikTok version. I have no idea why they chose to use the TikTok version, but whatever. As I said, originally Maya did much better than Plasma, but Plasma put up a good fight. She wanted to give as much as Maya was giving, but since in this case, Amanda is her opponent, I think Plasma would be able to do better than her and stay in the competition. That means we have to say goodbye to Amanda Tori meeting, but she placed 8th instead of 12th. In the next episode, we had the remix and one last chance to use the immunity potions. It didn't even make any sense since it was a non-elimination episode. Because of that, I decided to extend the validity of the immunity potion, and Plain will use it in the next episode. So originally Plain used her immunity on Nymphia, and both her and Q ended up low in this episode. Nymphia definitely would need that potion because she clearly struggled the most here, but since Plain is using it in the next episode, now she's still going to be low, alongside Nymphia. Here we have Plasma over Q, and I think she would do better than those two. The top 2 of Sapphira and Morphine absolutely make sense, as both of them killed it. Since it's a non-elimination episode, I decided to highlight more queens. That's why Plasma, Maya, and Dawn are all high. So, Sapphira and Morphine are gonna lip sync to Made You Look by Meghan Trainor, and this song was a questionable choice for the lip sync, but Sapphira ended up winning, which I totally agree with, because she did do better than Morphine, which means she wins, and it's time for the stand-ups. Since we have Plasma here over Q, I just paired her up with Plain Jane, since Q was originally working with Plain here. Sapphira originally won this challenge, which was a pretty weird choice. She did do a good job, but definitely should not have won. Q and Plain absolutely ate this challenge up, but I think it was mainly because of Q, as their best jokes about slides and etc. were Q's ideas, I believe. I think they would still do a good job, but Nymphia Wind also did such a good job here, and I decided to give her the win. In the original timeline, I think Plain and Q should have won, but I have no clue if their performance would look as good if Plasma was there over Q. Maybe they would still kill it, I don't know. Dawn and Maya were the weakest group of the week. However, since it was being judged individually, Dawn is going to be low, as she was originally, and Morphine is going to lip-sync against Maya. Both of them struggled the most, so it was totally fair that they ended up in the bottom. The lip-sync song was Dim All the Lights by Donna Summer. Morphine ended up winning the lip-sync, which was absolutely correct, and that means we have to say goodbye to the Queen of Flips, Miss Maya Iman Lepage. By the way, I think Plain would use her potion on Saphira or Dawn in this scenario, but once again, it would not really change anything. Now it's time for one of the weirdest challenges from this season, the Bathroom Design Challenge. Nothing changes here. I think Plasma would do good enough to escape the bottom too, so I decided to put her low with Nymphia. Plain Jane and Saphira definitely did do the best, so I kept them as the winners. I really don't have much to say, this challenge was just a complete flop. I agree with the bottom two of Dawn and Morphine, and as we saw, Morphine absolutely destroyed this lip sync. But also, Dawn wasn't terrible, she would have a chance of staying if she was up against someone else. But well, we have to say goodbye to Dawn, and it is time for the Makeover Challenge. Originally, Plain Jane won, and honestly, if Q was still there, I think she should have won, but since she is not, I kept Plain Jane as the winner. You can also make an argument for Nymphia to win. I think it could have been any of them, but I agree with Plain winning. Originally, Saphira and Morphine were in the bottom two. Saphira pretty much knew this is going to happen, because she had to change her concept entirely, as they were not able to perform in dresses she had for this challenge. However, Morphine didn't do that bad. The dresses were cute, and the makeup was untouchable as always. Here is what Plasma would do. Overall, I prefer Morphine's makeover. I see what Plasma was going for, but it didn't quite work for me. I think I would agree with any of them taking the other bottom two spot. I decided to put Plasma there, which means her and Saphira are gonna lip-sync to Miss Me More. Saphira ended up winning the lip-sync originally, and I don't think Plasma would do a better job, so she is gonna go home here, placing 5th. It's time for the adverts. I did not change anything here. Nymphia and Saphira did such a good job, and Morphine I think would not do as good as those two. Arguably any of them could have won, and I would agree with both, but I kept Nymphia as the winner and Saphira high. The lip-sync song this episode was Better Be Good to Me by Tina Turner. Originally, Plain ended up winning, and I kept her as the winner of the lip-sync here as well. I am sure Morphine would put up a good fight, but it's her 3rd time in the bottom two, and Plain's 1st. I have no clue. Maybe Morphine would do much better than Plain and stay. We are never gonna know. So, before the grand finale, we had the lip-sync Lollapalooza Smackdown. I'm not going to talk much about it because I agree with pretty much everything. Megami really surprised all of us and made it to the final round, but I do think that Morphine was the rightful winner. Now it is time for the finale. It was pretty clear that Plain Jane is going to finish at 3rd place. Her song was also my least favorite of the 3, so I decided to still cut her before the final lip sync. That means it's down to Saphira and Nymphia. The time has come for you to lip sync for
the crown.
The winner of RuPaul's Drag Race Season 16 is Nymphia Wind. Saphira had in fact better track record, but you cannot deny that Nymphia did win the lip sync. Her balloon reveal was really impressive, and overall performance was really captivating. Honestly, I don't like lip syncs for the crown. I think they should come back to the formula they were doing from season 1 to 8. I'm not saying Nymphia did not deserve the win though, because she truly did. Congratulations to Nymphia Wind. Do you agree with the changes I made? Did you enjoy watching season 16? Let me know in the comments and click subscribe if you want to stay with me longer. See you in the next video.